Hello everybody. This is a very brief video that's going to give you just an overview of some of the effective studying strategies that I've already mentioned in class. As you probably remember, one of the first one we talked about is distributed learning. Learning in small amounts, small amounts of time over a longer period. So rather than cramming right 2 or 3 days before the exam, you want to be starting learning a lot earlier and study in smaller amounts. One of the things we know about people's ability to learn at any given time is when students sit down to study, when they have the textbook ready and they start studying, they're focusing, it's only about 20 to 30 minutes that they can really focus. And then they start getting tired. And so it's not really realistic to think you can sit down and study for 2 or 3 hours nonstop. You do need breaks at least once every half an hour. And ideally, you also want to be studying over a very long period of time in small chunks, maybe 2 20-minute chunks every other day or every day, depending on how many classes you're taking. If you're studying, you can set the timer for 30 minutes. Get everything ready, your textbook, your notes, everything else you need, your practice quizzes off of the blackboard. And then sit down with a drink and snacks so that you don't have to get up to help yourself to food. Stay focused, keep on the timer, but if you get a little fidgety or really restless at some point, it's before the 30-minute mark, feel free to get up, notice the time, get up, walk a little bit, take a little break, and then come back and sit down. And then the next time you're setting your timer, do it for that amount of time. So let's say it was 15 minutes. So set it for 15 minutes and try to study for 15 minutes, then take a break. And then come back and study for another 15 minutes and then take a break. And then eventually, maybe after 4 or 5 times of doing this, you can try to stretch the time to 20 minutes. Okay? So you want to study in small chunks, but you also don't want to study all day in small chunks. You really ideally want to be studying the material as we go along and then just kind of repeat it, remind yourself as we are approaching the exam. So that's one very important skill, distributed learning as opposed to mass learning. All right, so let's move on to the next one. One of the very important things that we know from science about learning is that it helps a great deal to process the information on a deeper level. And that's one of the things I'm going to demo in the subsequent videos when I actually talk about some of the material that we cover in lectures. And so that's coming, but now in a more general way. Let me just tell you this. When you can find a way to think in your own words, let's say about the conclusions of what I just said, you're going to be much better able to understand and learn the material than if you're just trying to memorize the lines that I'm saying. So instead of just trying to write out as much as you can, taking notes in the speed of light, barely keeping up, asking me to repeat things, although I'm always happy to repeat, try to listen for a little bit longer and just think about what I'm saying and what the gist of it is. What are the main conclusions? And examples are coming up again. So those are the first 2 strategies. I'm going to move on, pause here, and we're going to continue with part 2 on study strategies in the next video, and then we'll go ahead and get started with the specific lecture materials. Okay, I'll see you soon, guys.